we are very rural here. So usually we're the first ones to feel it and we're the last ones to come out of it because we're all secondary money a lot of times for the big homes. And a lot of stuff is cabin-based, recreational-based. It's not necessarily based on the primary residences. So a lot of times, first one in, last one out of a recession.
This episode is brought to you by 10X Nerds. If you're a business owner doing real revenue, there's a good chance you're overpaying in areas you haven't even looked at. Things like credit card processing, insurance, telecom, and more. 10X Nerds comes in, audits your expenses across 30 plus categories, and finds immediate savings. And here's the kicker. They only get paid if they save you money. It's a complete no-brainer. If you want to keep more of what you make, go check them out at 10xnerds.com. This episode is brought to you by Rakowski Law Firm. If you're a business owner or have built a level of wealth, but you don't have your estate plan dialed in, you're exposed. Rakowski Law Firm helps families and business owners protect their assets, avoid probate, and make sure everything transfers exactly how it should. This isn't just paperwork, it's a real strategy to protect your legacy. If you haven't looked at your plan in a while or don't have one, go to rakowskilawfirm.com. This episode is brought to you by my friend Silas Lagoy over at ForgeMark Wealth. If you're a high-income business owner or professional and feel like you're getting crushed by taxes, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. ForgeMark Wealth specializes in advanced legal tax strategies and wealth planning designed to help you keep more of what you make, grow it efficiently, and actually build long-term freedom, not just income. If you're making serious money but don't have a real strategy behind it yet, I highly recommend connecting with Silas and his team. What's up, everybody? This episode is sponsored by ExitWise. If you're a business owner thinking about selling your company, whether that's now or years down the road, you need to know what your business is actually worth and how to maximize that exit. That's exactly what ExitWise does. They help you prepare, position, and ultimately sell your business by assembling a world-class team of M&A experts around you, guiding you from valuation all the way through closing. If you want to know what your business is really worth and how to increase that number before you sell, go check out exitwise.com and get ahead of it. This episode is brought to you by Blue Collar Business Advisors. If you're running an HVAC, plumbing, electrical, or landscaping, or any other type of home service business and wondering where all the money is going despite growing your revenue, you need to talk to Paul Maskill. Paul has scaled and sold multiple blue-collar businesses and now helps business owners improve cash flow, profitability, and financial clarity through outsourced CFO services. His clients gain a better understanding of their numbers, build predictable profits, and create a business that supports the life they actually want. One of the things I appreciate most about Paul is he's not just a finance guy. He's been in the trenches as an owner. He understands the challenges of running blue-collar businesses because he's done it himself. If you're doing a few $1 million a year in revenue and want to stop guessing at your numbers and start building real wealth, head over to bluecollaradvisors.com. That's thebluecollaradvisors.com and schedule a discovery call with Paul and his team. Blue Collar Business Advisors, helping blue-collar business owners build financially healthy companies and achieve permanent profitability. This episode is brought to you by Corberry Digital. If you own an HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, or home service business and you're tired of wondering where your next lead is coming from, you need to check out Corberry Digital. Corberry specializes exclusively in helping home service companies dominate their local markets through SEO, Google Ads, local service ads, websites, content marketing, and lead generation systems that actually produce a measurable ROI. Their team doesn't just focus on clicks and impressions. They help contractors lower customer acquisition costs, increase qualified leads, and build a marketing engine that scales. What I like about Corberry is they understand the blue-collar space. They aren't trying to be everything to everyone. Their entire focus is helping trades businesses win in their backyard and generate more profitable jobs. If you're looking to grow your business, improve your online visibility, and build a marketing system that works, visit Corberry.com and schedule a strategy session with their team. That's Corberry.com. Tell them you heard about them on the podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible podcast. Today, we're going to be covering a lot of key topics, the challenges, the pain points, growth, expansion, and many more. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy it.
So, but tell me a little bit about HVAC. How long have you been doing that for? Let's talk about a little bit about Pokemon later. But yeah, give me the whole rundown. How long have you been doing it?
We can touch on other things, and we can touch on that part of it as well. I've been doing HVAC since roughly I was about 8 years old. My dad actually started the business back in 1982. I've been in the trades and been an HVAC technician since then, or started then kind of doing stuff with him, being in the truck, being involved. We got done with high school. By the time I was out of high school, I was already doing service, install, doing all the aspects of the business. Went to school, of course, for HVAC, so I'm fully certified, got all my certifications, did all the training and everything through school. And actually, right as I was getting done with school, we went into the market crisis, of course, in 2006. So the housing market kind of dropped. Dad was like, well, here, listen up, you can go, rather than you come back, why don't you stay in school? You do one more school, whatever, because I was always wanting to look at machining. So I'm also have a degree for machining, and I worked in a machine shop for 8 years for a while to get away from HVAC. But I have since then been full-time HVAC again for at least 12 years now. So it's kind of, but I've never stopped doing HVAC. HVAC's always been kind of my passion. I enjoy it. It's always been my thing, and I've always loved doing it and trying to do everything to spec and making sure that we do everything for the customer and making sure that we do things exactly how the manufacturer specifies so we don't have those problems or issues that we potentially could have.
So you've been doing it for most of your life, I assume, right?
Yeah. I'm 40 now, and I've been doing active HVAC for about 38 or 32 of those years. So it started about 8, 9. I got pretty heavy into it, always in the truck every chance I got. It's just been kind of since then. So.
How's business been? You staying busy?
Incredibly busy. In general, right now the markets are just really, really, really busy. The biggest reasons being is that a lot of people like my dad's age are all retiring. The age is going up on this market, and the problem is that we aren't getting any real replacements yet at this point in time. It's definitely a hands-on career. People come, we've hired people even, and they last a little while, and they don't like it. They don't like doing all the work or being involved in the hands-on labor side of things, which is a real hard thing in this current day and age to really get through. But it's definitely an industry that we need to have people in, and it's very difficult to maintain your numbers and keep up because of that. So business is extremely busy just because of the shortages, and I don't think that there's going to be much in this market that's going to change that part of it. I think we're going to continue to remain really busy for the foreseeable future anyways.
Good. Well, I mean, that's a good problem to have. Unfortunately, the hard part is, keeping the employees, things like that. So how big are you guys? How long has Winco been around? You said your dad started Winco and you just took it over. Is that right?
Yeah, we're in a transition right now. He's pretty much retired at this point in time. By the end of this year, we're going to complete the strategic plan of switching over and doing that. So yeah, that's going to be definitely done here by the end of the year. We're going to be in a transition phase. We'll be complete. Currently, we have 3 people working for us. Dad is 4. We're looking for another person, a 4th person again, and possibly a 5th one here by the end of the year because demands just keep going up, and we can't maintain or keep up with what we are even getting from just our standard contractors and people at this point.
Yeah, I get that. Like I said, good problem to have. Finding good employees who will stay, and that's the hard part. That's the hard part. That's the thing with every business, though. Like you have your own. Everybody has their own challenges. Whether it's employee retention or if it's one thing or another. So you're not the only one out there.
You can either go between vendors or you can go between employees. You can go through tariffs. You can go through all the different challenges that all the businesses, anybody that's on ownership or trying to manage a business at this point in time are definitely running into their own hazards and their own issues that they're definitely having to work through if they want to survive in this current market.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we're pretty much done with Q1 now. How's 2026 been treating you, and what does the rest of the year look like for you?
Currently, right now in Q1, looking at the numbers, we were just kind of reviewing as we're getting close to the end here, like we always do. Basically, we're going to be up a little bit from last year again. Our employee that we hired last year is getting completely up to speed, which is really, really good. And so we're able to crank out a little bit more work. And the cold snap, of course, in January, the last 2 years prior had been pretty warm through January and February, which of course kind of slows down those change outs and those emergency jobs that we run into. But this year being extremely cold, negative temperatures again, like a normal Wisconsin winter, in general, it really did increase our Q1 numbers. So right now, Q1, very strong. In that upward direction. Q2, we're kind of watching fuel prices, things like that can definitely affect our overall performance. But again, there's not very many places that can do that in this area that are really pushing or striving to build businesses or do things. The number 2 problem is no matter what they do, the cost isn't going down. We aren't seeing retraction in costs. All the costs do is go up and up and up, and they never retract no matter how. That's why I always laugh. People say, well, materials are going down in price. Doesn't matter. They don't lower the price. Once the price goes up, the price never comes back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, back in the 50s, 60s, gas used to be 10 cents a gallon and milk used to be, 50 cents or whatever. Yeah, definitely not coming down from that. I
You
totally
know,
get it.
well, the problem is that in 1970s the U.S. went off the gold standard, and once they did that, now there's no latch between the price of gold and the dollar bill. So
Yeah,
basically, the dollar keeps flowing and the gold doesn't move, and it causes a huge inflationary rate. That's
sure.
basically why it's been like that even since the 70s,
Yeah.
because inflation was very little before the 1970s,
Yep.
manageable.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you said, it's prices aren't going down and things aren't getting better. Things are just getting more and more expensive. Yeah, I totally get it.
And your wages aren't going up.
Yeah, wages. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Andy, with you doing this for so long, what's been some pain points you guys have, struggled with throughout the years? Do you have any of those? Anything you wish you could take back, or wish like, I wish I need to learn from that, or I'll do this one differently next time. Anything comes to mind?
Well, in just like anything in business, there's always things that you learn and run into those situations for sure. A couple of the bigger ones that I've always remembered is just trying to sometimes expand in wrong time frames. I mean, you have to understand the markets a little bit better.
Hmm.
Dad's always been well grounded. The business ran, business sense. He kind of started in the 80s, which wasn't exactly the hottest time in the markets because there was a lot of tradesmen at that time, and getting going in that time frame was definitely a learning curve. Basically, good customer service and doing your job to the fullest with the best price you can has always been the big motto for us. And that's what's kept us growing and going up in that way. But we definitely, in the early 2000s, were in a big expansion here for the business. We actually at one point had 8 people working for us. Dad had 8 different guys working for him plus himself. And then, of course, you had the collapse, the market recession and everything in 2002, which really caused a hindrance to the housing markets at that point too, where we really saw a loss where basically we had to retract. Luckily, some of those guys were retiring and stuff, so Dad didn't have to lay off a bunch of people. A lot of them were moving off on their own and he just didn't replace. Still, it was one of them situations where now we're really cautious about how we look at expansion. Is it worth it? Especially with the global economy and what's happening even in the United States economy currently with the tariffs and the war going on and things like that can all be factors on how much do we want to expand, how much do we want to risk, and where do we want to, continue to move forward. So it's definitely one of them things. In 2008, same thing. You ran into 2 major recessions, with number one a recession in 2002, and then 2008 we had the big housing boom, or the housing bubble pop, which then of course set everything back, especially in our rural areas. We are very rural here, so usually we're the first ones to feel it and we're the last ones to come out of it, because we're all secondary money a lot of times for the big homes. And a lot of stuff is cabin based, recreational based. It's not necessarily based on the primary residences, so a lot of times first one in, last one out of a recession. So it's something to definitely keep in consideration when looking at building a business and continuing, if we do go on this path of continuing to grow.
Sure. Actually, that's a great way of looking at it. I never thought about it in that perspective.
Yeah.
First one, then last one out. I mean, I think you can kind of apply that to all trades, electrical, plumbing, of course, HVAC, all that stuff. So yeah, actually, that's really neat. Yeah, gave me a new perspective on things.
Yeah, I mean, companies like that in the cities have an advantage because normally your suburbs and your urban areas are very very much primary residences and things like that. So they continue to move. Even in a recession, there's still building going on. It's slower. It's not moving as fast, or maybe dragged out longer. But in general, it's still happening. While rural areas such as this, where Hayward is just a vacation spot, so they're not going to build a cabin if they're barely making the bills on their primary residence. So that's the big thing that happens in especially for any trades, carpenters, plumbing, electrical, heating guys in this area. It's definitely something that we kind of bank from the knowledge back in 2008 and how we operate our businesses and look at the forecasts.
Yeah, I get it. Absolutely. So are you guys mostly residential or commercial, or both?
We do about 95% residential. We do small commercials, so we do like small vet clinics, home or gas stations. We do a lot of like coolers and walk-in coolers and stuff like that are kind of our commercial end of things.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, most of ours is typically just residential at this point in time.
Gotcha. And it sounds like that's keeping you guys pretty busy. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't needed to expand, and I've got contractors every day. I've basically stopped taking on new contractors at this point in time, just because I can't handle it. There's just so much that you can take on, and with only having 3 guys, possibly 4, I'm doing some interviews here this week to try and get a 4th guy. But even still, there's only so much work you can take on at this point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I completely get it. Everybody has their own bandwidth, and you can only do so much. So yeah, that's why you gotta hire some people to help, help over here, help there, answer, even if it's just answering phone calls and things of that nature. But yeah, totally get it. Totally get it. It takes a village.
Every business does in some way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Are you gonna try and get your son into the works too, into the family business? Or?
Yeah, he's already been wanting to work. He comes with me in the summertime when he's off of school, and we do projects together because I do a lot of stuff on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Take small projects, just mini splits, single AC changeouts, furnace changeouts, things that are small I can handle, and then he comes with me and helps. So
Yeah.
he's already interested in it, and he really does enjoy it. So he has been jumping in and getting involved, which is good. I'm glad to see that we might have a third generation of it, but we'll see. I'm never gonna force, like Dad said, he never forced us into doing it, and I'm not gonna force my kid into it. I don't want him doing something he hates because Dad told me he had to do it type
Yeah.
deal. So
Yeah, I know
he's
that
showing
mindset.
interest.
Hey, I was
Yeah.
like that with my parents too. And then I'm like, I kind of wish I would have stuck with that, looking back. Yeah.
Yeah, could have stayed with it and been better off, but you had to do your own thing.
Sure, sure. So back to Winco. How are you guys? You guys are expanding. You're looking at hiring another employee, later on. How are you guys making your capital purchases? Do you own any trucks? Are you trying to expand from there? Equipment? Are you guys dipping into your own pockets, taking loans out? What does that look like?
Typically right now we usually budget for a truck every year. Like right now we have 4 vehicles in the fleet. The 5th one is sitting there in backup. That's actually a newer one that we're setting up. Because my vehicle is getting older. It's already got 230,000 miles on it. So it's getting up there. I probably got one more summer off of it. And then next year I'm going to probably kick into the newer one that we just purchased. A lot of times we just budget from year to year. We know that we're going to have to replace typically a vehicle every 2 years in our fleet. So we just continually mitigate that. Just with proper budgeting and things like that. We have taken loans in the past for some of the bigger expenses, cube vans, things like that. Nice thing is too is like all of our labeling on the truck is really washed away because of the fact we are in with dealer programs and stuff like that that will actually give us, or pretty much for free, give us our truck wraps and stuff like that, and we just got to pay like $1,000 for the guy to install them, which is negligible when you're talking about a running billboard all over the place.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's pennies. Seems like.
Yeah, it is.
What it's
$1,000
worth.
for a full advertising, and we always see what it costs, and it's like normally like $2,800 for a wrap.
Yeah.
And those are pretty much coming from our dealer for free because of the amount of product that we sell currently through them.
Sure, sure. How are you guys getting your leads? No, sticking to marketing.
Generating our leads is actually fairly easy. Usually it's just word of mouth. We'll do work in one area. Someone will tell someone about our work. And in general, we end up doing a big pocket of work in an area typically. So we'll do this person, and then they tell their 2 neighbors, and pretty soon it's just word of mouth.
Yeah.
90% of what we do is word of mouth. For the amount of throughput that we have in our business, we actually have very minimal on our advertising budget. I really don't even advertise just because, in a way, I'm almost tapped out and I don't want more work. So I'm okay with the word of mouth because that's a great way to get work, and that tells you your customers are satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
But like, for example, last year we were looking at our advertisement budget for 2025, and for a $1.4 million business in sales, we actually only put out there, what was it, $3,800 roughly in advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
And typically they would say you're supposed to be about 10% of your business. So we are nowhere near, 5 to 10% of our business in advertising costs.
Wow.
We don't need it. We don't have to do that with the throughput. Word of mouth just drives our business. And anybody that's in trades, if you can get that word of mouth business, it is worth 10 times more than any advertised business you're going to get. I can tell you that right now.
Sure, sure, absolutely. It makes you guys more of a qualified, company. Absolutely. And that's great that you guys can get so much business just through word of mouth, and you guys are saving so much money in advertising. Like, you can allocate all that money towards, another truck, another employee, more equipment. You really name it, a warehouse. I don't know, but yeah, that's great. That's great.
That's just it. I mean, you think about a normal business, 5 to 10% advertisement for 1.3, you should be around $100,000 in advertisement roughly.
Yeah.
And we did under 10.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there you go. I mean, you're under $10,000 in advertisement. That's $90,000 that we could allocate towards an employee, a truck, more stock, more in our warehouse, all that kind of stuff is actually used at that point in time. So it works out really well if you can continue to get that word of mouth. And I've seen so many businesses get good word of mouth and then they screw it up. And then they have to try and go back to the advertisement to try and get that going again, whether it's a bad employee, not following procedures, doing improper installs. All those things can really be detrimental to your business long term that people don't think about. They don't think that, an employee with an attitude is going to be a problem. Well, it is, because that customer isn't going to tell those 5 customers that they normally would have. Now they're telling maybe one, or they don't tell any, and pretty soon you really see it. When you can almost tell, like even for us in the past, you could tell when you sent a customer or an employee that was causing problems, or maybe was rude or impolite, was because you would all of a sudden send that employee to an area, and you would normally see like 3-4 jobs in that area, and you'd get none. It's like, okay, well, why did it happen on 3 locations we sent that particular employee? Why did that area not grow? But all the other employee groups, the 2 guys flourished. We got 5-6 jobs out of these ones. This one was not. So we actually use that also as a good metric for your employee evaluations and finding out how your employees are doing. Because once again, if you're not seeing the word of mouth when you normally would with your business, what changed? What's different on that crew that's causing that situation?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. It's like your employees represent you and your business. So, but yeah, it's funny. Actually, a good friend of mine here in Denver, he runs a home automation company, and one of his employees got caught on a Ring camera saying some stuff. And of course, the homeowner saw it, heard it, brought it to my friend, the owner, and didn't go over well. So you really got to present yourself. So yeah, it's your reputation on the line also too. So yeah, and with how much word of mouth business that
it's our.
Oh, yeah, I was saying, go for it.
It's our business. And I've seen other businesses where they sold out, family names, really, really good businesses, and now they're known as junk businesses because they had new managers, they started to retire, had managers take over, their kids hired managers to run the business. And it doesn't, they don't translate that family-driven service. And when that starts to happen, your clientele starts to drop, your business reputation starts to drop, and overall, you start having those situations on where your reputation starts to fall apart. And it's my reputation. When that truck leaves the driveway at the end of the day, as an owner or even a manager, if you're managing for a company, you have to think about it as, when that truck leaves, regardless if it's me or someone else in that truck, it is representing me and it's representing my company. And you need to drive those feelings and those thoughts into your employees. Really take advantage of the markets. I mean, regardless, even if we're slow and there's a lot of work available, it does not mean that you're going to be able to capture that if you're not resonating with the customers themselves and getting in with that.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, completely agree. So, but hey, Andy, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you hopping on a call with me. You're welcome. Yeah, I know you're busy. I like to keep these about 20, 25 minutes, so, but it's, but anything else
completely
you'd
understand.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add, before we hop off? And
the only thing I would say is just, if you are looking at a trade and if you're younger looking at this, questioning whether or not there's a future or it's worth it, it's 100% worth it. I will 100% tell anybody that if you're willing to do some hard work and understand that you're going to maybe put in some long hours, but the overall market for any of the trades, whether you're electrician, plumber, heating guy, HVAC, refrigeration, whatever you want to do, it's definitely there, and it's definitely rewarding. It's, to me, one of the more rewarding jobs that I've ever done, and I always come back to it because I do enjoy it, and I would suggest anybody stick it out. I mean, it seems tough at first, and it seems like a lot of work, and it is a lot of work, but the work is rewarding. When you work with your hands and become skilled at something, and the skills that are involved, you'll really feel rewarded with yourself in a few years.
Sure, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Andy, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much. You have a good day.
Yeah, you too.